All right, so another thing here that I've been going over is I'm sure a lot of us have heard about the new CDL rules. Now, apparently these have been put on hold. They were supposed to go into effect on February 7th of 2020, so this year. And apparently it got put on hold. But I went through and I read it, and quite honestly, the only thing that happened is they passed the buck off to the schools, which are training these drivers that are getting forced out into the community anyway. And my personal opinion is that with them doing that, it's going to make the schools a little bit more accountable for the product that they're putting out. I think that is like about the only real difference that it's going to make. Well, I shouldn't say that. Not the only real difference. It's probably going to limit some people coming in and trying to attempt to be a driver, because I can see this definitely consuming more time and requiring more man hours for the teachers and whatnot. And the fact that you're now going to have someone that has a minimum of 2 years experience. So you're basically going to have to pull a qualified driver off of the road. And any smart qualified driver coming off the road is not going to be wanting to get paid any less than what they were getting paid on the road. So you can imagine that they're going to be wanting more. So it's going to up the cost of the overall schooling, which I would say is going to get a few people to shy away from that outside of any kind of additional state or government funding or anything to that effect. Now, my real opinion on this matter is that while they are upping the overall curriculum on the test, and again, sorry, I'm using my phone right now because I don't have a laptop with me and I cannot get my video camera memory card to work into my phone. I don't know why. But either way, they are upping the curriculum, which is ultimately going to increase the time spent in school, or should anyway, rather than being able to churn these drivers out every 30 days or so. It's going to require them, or should require them, to spend more time behind the wheel and in the classroom learning properly. But again, this is going to fall on the shoulders of the school, the instructors, and all that. Now, with that being said, there is always a way to manipulate something. There's always a loophole. There's always a way to get around paperwork. There's always a way around all this stuff. This is no different than the paper logs versus ELDs. And that's exactly where I'm going with this. Is that if they are really wanting to document this stuff and all this training, they need, and it's my opinion, they need to make these schools start these people off the right way. And when they go to school, they need to have a driver ID number, which most places do. I'm trying to find a good light here and not lean on the steering wheel so it's shaking. But they need to have a driver ID number, and these trucks need to be required to have ELDs in them. So that way the DOT is already monitoring everything else, their test scores and the proficiency level and everything. These guys and gals that are going through this stuff, they need to start them out teaching them on the ELD and logging it in. Now, a lot of schools, the one that I used to work for, they tried to fight this and say, well, yeah, but then that's going to cost us even more money, and not everyone's going to be using the same ELD. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You're running a business, just like we're running a business out here running these trucks. You got costs that are you know, absorbed into that business. Oh, well, you've got to put an ELD in a freaking truck. It takes all of like 10 minutes to create a driver ID, driver password, and get in there and actually make these people log their hours, save their hours. Then it's documentable. They can actually show it. They can prove it just like everybody else can prove it. And it's going to be able to be proven whether or not it's been modified. Because we all know that's the thing. Yeah, you can get in there and you can modify all these logs just as easily as you could have modified a paper log, except for now it leaves a digital trail. So, long story short, my opinion on this is if you're going to train them right, make them use the ELDs starting in school. Yeah, the cost is going to have to be absorbed somewhere. We all know where that's going to go. It's going to go to the end user. It's going to go to the student. But if they want that CDL bad enough and they're going at it for the right reasons, and rather than to try and just make an easy buck, which I don't know why anyone thinks this is an easy buck. That's the stupidest freaking thing I've ever heard in my life. It's not overly complicated, but it's not like going to McDonald's and flipping burgers or anything. So, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying it's not the same level. So they need to get these guys set up on ELDs, have them documenting their hours, so that way the DOT can go back through and be like, okay, well, they got this much time night driving, they've got this much time daytime driving, because I'm not going to point any fingers. I'm not going to say anything bad about places I may or may not have worked before. But I know that a vast majority of these people that are coming out being new drivers, either their actual real road hours are not correct. I'm not going to say one way or the other how they are incorrect. But I know for a fact that a lot of those hours get doctored because it's another business. They're trying to get them in and get them out just as quick as they possibly can. Now, that is part of the reason why I no longer do that, because I did not want to be involved in the situation of watching people get pushed out the door, and not in a bad way, in a way that granted them a Class A license, when I was extremely opinionated about their performance and verbal about how I didn't believe they needed to be doing something because they were a hazard on the road. But at the end of the day, I was told to shut my mouth because I was not the company owner and it was not affecting me. And if I wanted to keep making a paycheck, then I needed to be quiet. Well, y'all see how that worked out. I opened my mouth one day a little bit too much and voiced my opinion, and I was asked to go home, which didn't hurt my feelings at all. In fact, I was pretty happy about that because I no longer had to be a part of it. I didn't agree with a lot of the stuff that was going on. I agreed with the idea of the training that they were putting down, but the manner in which they prescribed it to certain people, certain situations, I did not agree with, not one bit. And it was simply to make a dollar and get on to the next person. So we all know these are big, heavy pieces of equipment, pieces of machinery that get even heavier with certain loads that you put on them. And it's not a safe thing to be putting someone who's just completely absent-minded behind a wheel and trying to operate one of these things. I mean, too many people are just goofing off. So it's my opinion that, with the rule changes that they put in, I saw it as, yeah, it's a good thing. Do I see it as being effective? No, and I'm kind of glad they pulled it back because it would be a waste of time, because I don't see it actually conquering any kind of hurdles they need to go back through and revise it. And it's my opinion they need to put them on ELDs, just like the rest of us. I mean, if you're gonna learn, they need to learn how to do paper logs for backup, and they need to learn how to do ELDs. I don't care if every company out there doesn't use the same ELD. They're the same basic function, and it's going to offer logging technology to prove whether or not these people are actually getting the driving time that they're needing. And it shouldn't be that hard. Yeah, it's going to cost a little bit more, but I mean, like I said, if they want that CDL bad enough, if that school wants that profit bad enough, they're going to go for it. If anything, I see this really honestly providing a bigger opportunity for more tech savvy schools that are willing to jump on this, that are willing to really sit down and hammer out the details on how they can most efficiently do this and operate this. I think it can be a good thing, but at the same time, they need to put ELDs in place where these people are actually getting their hours logged properly. So that way, I guess call it peace of mind or something. I don't think it's really ultimately going to make a difference in the safety of the driver. It can, and it probably will for some, but the people that are just going to drive like idiots are going to continue to drive like idiots, period. That's all there is to it. And there's no logging mechanism that's going to stop that. I mean, the only thing that can stop that is unsafe actions getting caught by the proper people and shut down. We all know that. But ELDs, I do believe, in this particular scenario, ELDs can prevent this. Funny enough, right there, right? So that's my 2 cents. I think that some of the changes they made are going to be good and going to be effective and probably help in their own way. But ELDs also need to be put on the plate in order to make sure, and that's the only reason why I'm advocating for ELDs. Me personally, I don't mind them. It takes a little bit extra work out of my day. Just let the computer do it. It doesn't bother me one bit. But, as far as actually having to use ELDs and whatnot, it's a whole other topic. I think it should be a choice, but that's my opinion. But with this particular matter, I think it's going to resolve or can help resolve the people that are not actually being trained properly and are just saying, oh yeah, he's got 40 hours or 150 or 200 hours worth of driving and just pencil whipping it out on a paper. That's one thing versus these ELDs that we've all got to run now where, yeah, whatever you want to do, you can modify stuff, do this, do that, but you can't just make up hours. I mean, I'm sure somewhere along the line somebody could figure it out, but it's probably not that hard. But it's, again, going to show an ID, a password, and this particular person driving down the road. And if they really needed to add to it, I'm sure there's ways they could add to it to make it even safer, but again, like I said, that's my opinion on the new rules. Hopefully they get something figured out. They need to get something figured out. There's a lot of people out here that really don't need to be out here. And I'm definitely not an expert super trucker or anything like that. I try to stay safe for me and the people around me, because at the end of the day, I'd really prefer that everyone goes home safe and sound. But everyone has accidents here and there. It is what it is, but they got to do something about a lot of these idiots that are out here on the road. And I do believe that if they're going to effectively do that, they need to start logging the hours just like the rest of us have to log hours. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. When I was in the Army, they say train as we fight, which means, if we're training with all of our gear, all of our equipment, doing everything exactly as if we were in a real life situation, scenario, everything like that. I don't see why it should be any different here for these guys and girls that are wanting to go through it. And the ones that really want it, they're going to understand that as well. It's not like they're not going to have to do it when they get to their company or get to their truck or get to wherever. It should be a mandatory part of their training as it is. But again, like I said, not to keep beating a dead horse here or anything, but the new rules, the curriculum, I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to help resolve the people that are not actually being trained properly and are just saying, oh yeah, he's got 40 hours or 150 or 200 hours worth of driving and just pencil whipping it out on a paper. That's one thing versus these ELDs that can It is what it is. They upped it. I think it'll be effective. They need to add ELDs. There you go. That's my 2 cents. I guess let me know what you think on that one. And stay tuned. Well, I guess we'll see how these rules pan out. They're claiming it's going to be a couple more years before anything actually goes into effect. But everybody have a safe day, and I'm going to go get with these people and see if they're going to load me up now because they made me wait again. Have a great day. Bye.